Hey everyone, I'm Tamara Krinsky for the Red Carpet Report. We are here bright and early at the nomination announcement for the 30th Annual Film Independent Spirit Awards, which honors the best in artist-driven film. We're excited to see who is going to make the list. So, 30th Spirit Awards, how is that feeling? It's a pretty big accomplishment.
30 years of the Spirit Awards is kind of astounding. I feel, independent film feels inherently youthful and young. And so to realize that the awards have turned 30 is a big deal. But we're just thrilled. I feel like independent film has truly come of age this year. I mean, really in the recent past. And this has become, with the Spirit Awards, I don't think we're just celebrating the best independent cinema anymore. I think we're celebrating the best filmmaking, period.
Well, one of the things that I noticed in the nominations are that you have people who are sort of, dare I use the word, cycling through again. You know, you now have people like Julianne Moore who were honored years ago for their work in groundbreaking films, now coming back and doing work in an entirely different way.
I love it. You do see talent coming back to the Spirit Awards. People who were honored for their first film coming back again. Talented filmmakers don't want to leave the independent space because this is where the good, daring work is being done. Spike Lee raising money on Kickstarter. Zach Braff raising money on Kickstarter. It's not just a gimmick. They want to be doing independent film, and they're not going to find that in a more corporatized form of filmmaking. So,
and you used a really interesting phrase earlier when you were announcing the award. You used the word artist-driven. You know, so many people talk about, well, what is independent film these days? So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, at Film Independent, we wrestle with what's our mission and what does independent mean and what does film mean? And really what it comes down to is the type of filmmaking we're celebrating is artist-driven filmmaking. It's filmmakers, and that can be broadly popular, but it's film where the person behind it is an artist who has a vision that they are trying to share with the world and create on celluloid or in bits. And that's really what it's about. The term indie feels honestly a little out of date in a way. It's like what happened back in the 90s or something. What we're celebrating is artist-driven filmmaking.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I love about Film Independent is, you know, you have these big amazing events like the Spirit Awards and the LA Film Festival, but you also have artist programs that help them develop that work. And that's something I know is near and dear to your heart, having really formed a lot of those programs. Can you talk about those a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So Film Independent's day in and day out work that we do is a lot less public facing than the Spirit Awards or the LA Film Festival. Our year-round work is our artist development programs and our education programs, which are for talented emerging filmmakers. This happens kind of behind the doors, but it's what we do day in and day out. And we work to identify the most talented emerging filmmakers and to provide them with critical support as they develop their scripts, they put their budgets and schedules together, and really refine their films before they go into production. And there is nothing more gratifying to me than to see working with those filmmakers, seeing them make their film, and then when they get recognized at major festivals or here at the Spirit Awards. This year, Anna Lily Amirpour is a great example of a filmmaker who came through our labs and made such an astonishingly daring, beautiful punk rock movie with A Girl Walks Home Alone. And, that's kind of where the process comes full circle.
So if somebody wants to get a Spirit Award, they should try and get into the lab. Does that give them a leg up?
I don't think doing our labs gives you a leg up on the Spirit Awards, except in the sense that my advice to young filmmakers is, the barrier has come down. It's much easier to make a movie just in technical terms, which means, unfortunately, it's much easier to make a bad movie. And my recommendation would be take time, develop your script, put together the strongest team that you possibly can to help you on your film. Come through our labs, go to the Sundance Labs, go to Tribeca. There's a community of organizations that are here to support you, and really avail yourself of that. And I think if you do that, the chances of ending up here are not too bad.
And speaking of partners, one of your newer partners is the Sloan Foundation. I got to go to the Sloan Film Summit last week. Talk a little bit about that program.
Yes. So we've actually been partnered with the Sloan Foundation for 8 years. They came on, they've supported our producing lab and a film financing market. This year, they asked us to produce the Sloan Film Summit, which is an event that they do every 3 years. We just did it here in Los Angeles. It was such a fantastic program. Over 2.5 days, we brought together about 150 scientists and filmmakers to collaborate, talk about their work. The mission of Sloan is really to help promote stories in film that deal with science, technology, and mathematics. Not sci-fi, but like the real stuff. And we've been developing those projects in our artist development programs and have had some beautiful films come out. So it's a fantastic partnership for us.
Something else I'm curious about. You mentioned there were about 340 films that were up for consideration for the nominations. Were there any trends that you guys noticed as films went through? Some years the films are all about alienation. Some years they're all, dark comedies. Some years they're all about family.
That is a great question. There are years where there are some odd trends where the films skew in one direction. This year, maybe it's an anti-trend. I felt that there was such diversity. The films were so different. They're from budget to subject matter to the way that they were filmed. We have films shot on 35 millimeter, films shot on, not cell phones, but practically. But thematically and in terms of subject matter, I feel that they're really very diverse. I think when you have people doing the kind of daring work, personal work that you get with artist-driven filmmaking, you tend to maybe see less of those trends because people aren't chasing a market. They're telling their own stories, and those stories are weird and unique and stand out.
And that's one of my favorite things about them. I won't ask you to pick a favorite film for this year because I know you can't choose amongst your babies, but you've had the privilege of going to the Spirit Awards for a long time now. Can you name one or two moments that have been your favorites or that stand out in your memory? Maybe one of the most surprising moments you got to witness at the awards you were really glad to be in the live audience for?
I was so moved last year by Lupita Nyong'o when she stood up and thanked her mother across the room. That was an amazing moment. I remember years ago when Charlie Kaufman got up and read a script, a rejection letter that he had gotten from some development exec who said that there were not enough drugs in the world that he could take that would make Kaufman's script make sense, and there he was receiving a Spirit Award for it. The awards are full of unexpected moments like that, and people really let their hair down. It's very relaxed. I mean, there's glamour and glitz, but some people show up in jeans. It's a great show.
So when should people tune in?
People should tune in on February 21st. We are going to be live this year. We are broadcasting live from the beach.
Risky.
Yes, very risky. I'm a little terrified. We made the decision in the age of Twitter, it really does not make sense to be doing a show at 10 p.m. when it happens on the beach during the day. And we want to stay a daytime show. That's kind of that's where we are. So we're going to broadcast live on IFC. It's 2 p.m. Pacific time on February 21st. If you're on the East Coast, it's 5 p.m. And then the show will rebroadcast at 10 p.m.
So many chances to see it. Thanks so much for talking with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for watching the Red Carpet Report. If you like what you see, click like. And if you want to see more videos, then hit subscribe. And in the comments, let us know which nominee you are most excited to see.